Welcome everyone. Thursday meditation, music and healing requests. All right. This is Gandhi's favorite chant. Raghupati Raghava Rajaram. Tune this little thing here. This beautiful sitar. Cold weather is making it change. So think of it as we're tuning ourselves up here. I'm tuning myself up. That sounded better. Chills, digestive issues, COVID relapse. Let's fix you all up. Anyone else might be experiencing such things. Just let the sound of the sitar take you a little deeper here. Let the sound relax the brain. It's a beautiful raga called Bhupali. Well, it's raining in Santa Barbara. It's a full moon. So let's kind of drop into the meditative zone here. And just feel all that energy of the moon expanding into that Leo power light. It's like your heart, beautiful Leo light, radiating, expanding, letting the full moon fill you up. Let the rain relax the brain. It's dropping a little deeper to get underneath the samskaras, underneath the modifications of the mind, underneath the trauma, underneath the stress. It's like we just dive underneath it. Just drop in deeper. Beautiful peace. It's like making love with emptiness. Just feeling this delicious wave of beautiful peace just rising from within, the natural state. At first, we're just observing the landscape. Just what's going on? What thoughts are bubbling up? What pain in the body? What strange feelings in the mind? So just observing these, it all kind of settles down. We discharge the negative charge. The field comes more into alignment. positive, negative, balanced electric pressure of the water principle of their body. In a sense, we step out of the vehicle of the brain mind and just into the blessing, into the good feeling. Most pain in the body comes from a lack of hydrogen on some level. And so if we breathe, drink water, right? Hydrogenate, become a space being, expand into the hydrogenous wondrousness. That's a beautiful thing. Hydrogen. Pain and disease is a ratio of pressure to space. So where do you feel the pressure in their body? We're going to locate that. We're going to alkalinize, because if there's pain, if there's a problem, it means you have density, blockage, congestion. Inflammation leads to infection, infestation. So we want to track it back a bit to the blockage. We want to delete any blockage, any congestion. This could be on any level you're feeling it. We're just invoking that. Your supercomputer of your body totally knows how to do it. It just needs to get the right information. Just like the body politic. So, giving our wondrous body with all these organs and glands that are so intelligent. First off, let's just give them some love so that they feel like working. And it's kind of like, let's just do this quietly. I'll name them out, I'll call them out. This is the Sheng cycle in the Chinese medicinal loop of the organs. It's like the sequence of the elementals. Water feeds wood, feeds fire, feeds the invisible fire, feeds the earth, feeds the metal, comes back to the water. So we'll call out these organ pairs, and we're just gonna thank them. All right, just give them gratitude. Sort of like God. The only thing God probably wants is our gratitude. The universe loves to be loved. We love to be loved, we're the universe. And our kidneys too. So kidneys, bladder, water energy. Water, good stuff. Just like blessing the water principle in the body. Icosahedral flexilatus, perfect measure pressure against which the body balances. If you're attracting disease or a problem or impact, your negative pressure's going into the negative zone. You want to balance it with a positive, so there's no more attractor field for anything funky. And then that starts to release the funky accumulants. So let's just send them into the earth, just down, down, down they go. Mother Earth will take them, and just breathe. Clearing the brain, like I said, stepping out of the vehicle with your hands up, Abhaya Mudra. So we're stepping out of the vehicle with our hands up. We're surrendering to the universe. Good thing to do. No more funky. That's it. Okay, Abhaya Mudra. The surrender. It's hard for someone to hurt you when you're doing that. Right? They're just not that scary. So, Abhaya Mudra. Surrender, and let's add, not Viagra, Vairagya. Not Viagra, Vairagya. And if you know Sanskrit, that means dispassion. That means It's like Gandhian politics, right? Where you have this sort of steadfast forbearance, where you just handle the pain, right? Forbearance. But Vairagya is more mental, more psychic, meaning you are beyond it. You're dispassionate. You can observe the thoughts, not tangled up. Observe the emotions, emotions. Versus like, them controlling you, the thoughts controlling you. A great thought, as espoused by many yogis, is that one of the definitions of enlightenment or liberation is just very simply that you're not identifying with your thoughts. So simple. So not identifying with your thoughts, that means you can observe them, stare them down, and your feelings, so that they don't you, right? Who's in charge, the thoughts or you? Another great insight is on the surface level of the brain, you could say beta wave. We have 60,000 thoughts a day, according to the folks that took the time to count them, whoever they may be. And curiously, 55,000 of them are loop cycle thoughts, just going around and around, same old doodah. So we want to drop into a deeper wave, alpha, theta, that's sort of below the surface, just down, underneath all these thoughts. Too many thoughts, 60,000 thoughts, whoa. But that's pretty normal, right? Most of them are blah, blah, and blah, 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 blah. And so we just want to clear out the loop and drop back into the soup, cosmic soup of the pure I am awareness, this beautiful amniotic ocean of consciousness, into the thought-free state. It's sort of like a bar. You could be in that bar writing your novel, and there's 1,000 thoughts, there's 1,000 people in there just creating a ruckus, but you're completely absorbed in your concentration. So none of those people are relevant. This would be like a busy brain, right? It's like in the bar of your busy brain, these people are irrelevant. You can just get absorbed in what you're focusing on. And so you could have 10 billion thoughts, and so what? If you're just focused on the pure I am observer, then none of those thoughts have much appeal if the observer is more appealing than the thoughts. So how often are we more interested in God than the thoughts? How often are you interested in the deep self than the products? Unfortunately, it's probably a 1 in 1,000 thoughts that you're thinking about the deep self. So maybe 1 in 100 that you're noticing your breath. And so let's notice the breath to get to the self, get deeper. Just noticing the breath. Don't have to do much with it. And you don't have to do much with the thoughts, at least according to certain ways of thinking of meditation. They can just be happening. That's the Sahaj Samadhi principle. You could be out on cruise, dancing a jig, bopping to hip hop, doing whatever you're doing, and yet you're in meditation, observing, so you're not sucked into it, you're observing it. That gives you the power over it, right? That's the 51% principle. It's like the better angels win in the polarity, 51 to 49. But curiously, there's always kind of a demon in the mix. And what do I mean by that? That the shadow element has its shadow element, right? It wants to express itself. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. If you go after that shadow element, it's going to pop up over here. So, it's sort of like the demon among the 9 angels in the group of 10. Right? What do you think? Right? Ignore the demon. Probably the best deal. Right? Just Let that negative charge in your being just be, because there's probably going to be one of those negative charges there anyway. So rather than try to get it out and make life perfect, I've had a series of clients who are perfectionists, and they're just so outraged by the person in their life who sabotaged their situation or screws them up, right? And usually the person they live with, whether it's the brother, sister, lover. So let's check out how the shadow might work according to Carl Jung. In this situation, we could suggest that you have two heads on one body, meaning, so this partner, friend, brother, sister, you might think this is the enemy, this person is crazy, this person's everything that you're not, and yet that's why they're there, because they're everything you're not. So they have a place, right? And if you're trying to dominate with your solar, I'm right and this is the way it is, that concentrates the shadow into more of a concentrated thing, right? And so what do we do with this? Well, I would suggest just notice it, because you can't do much with it. Probably better to do less with it. Let it be. Like, don't disturb the demons. Don't go after evil. It just comes after you. It's just nasty stuff, right? So, just like, if there's something like that in your life, because this is often the root of issues in the body is relationships, because the body is a set of relationships. So if you have an issue with a relationship, you can probably look to your body as the barometric display of what is this person doing to me, or how am I responding is going to just unfold as a health issue perhaps. So that's why the inside-out approach to medicine is to track the relationship issues that have translated themselves into a body problem, or a psychic problem, or a mental issue, or whatever it is, right? So often, relationship issue. And so often the relationship issue seems to be that we're projecting enemy image onto this person or partner or part of yourself. And then that's creating the split, that's creating the duality, that's creating the rage. That allows the demons to come and have a party. So, well, I used to work at Pacifica Graduate Institute in the 90s. I was a part of various teaching assistant to wonderful courses there on personal mythology and depth psychology and all sorts of wonderful courses. And one of the understandings they have there, and these are folks that study Jung, they study Joseph Campbell, Marisha Gimbutas, James Hillman. These folks understand a very interesting principle of Dionysus and Apollo. So this is Greek mythology, but this seems to be psychology, meaning your left brain is very Apollonian. It likes things in order. It's a daytime kind of, we go 6 blocks and then take the left, like it's all organized, it's all daytime kind of application, solar. But then at night, the right brain takes over and we've got Dionysus at play, right? So there is this part of us that wants to party, that wants to do wanton destruction sometimes, that wants to just like, just release all the charge and go crazy and dance and, look at that, I just spilled the water. Exactly, that's what Dionysus does, right? Dionysus makes us wild, right? And so if we're repressing the wild and you're letting Apollo dominate, Dionysus is going to have to show up somewhere. It's probably going to jump ship and show up in someone you live with to sort of smash Apollo a little more, because Apollo might be trying to dominate and Dionysus is like, it's time to party. So there's this very interesting balance, right, between this Dionysian self, Apollonian self, and hopefully they're in balance, right? There's the left and the right brain. Find a kind of creative portal into the prefrontal lobes. Joseph Chilton Pierce used to talk a lot about that the frontal lobes where we concentrate is this creates a creative triangle with the right and left brain. This is sort of that which goes beyond the lockdown of the two hemispheres, right? It's sort of, there's this third that comes into being with the irreconcilable, right? So as we move into this expansion into the forehead, we have high concentration, and that's good for meditation and all sorts of things. But if you're overly cerebral, that could like shut down your heart and do all sorts of other things. Okay, so we're gonna breathe, and let's just notice Apollo at play. Notice Dionysus at play in you. What are these impulses you might be feeling? Right? Meditation is kind of an Apollonian endeavor because it sort of seeks to organize and bring things into harmony and create a beautiful feeling of peace and order and tranquility and coherency. Well, that would be like the Brahmins in India are doing that, right? But what happens often is tendencies like that become totalitarian, or can, in other words, they try to dominate everything and say this is the only way, and then the collective has to react. The collective has to show up as tantra. The collective has to say, oh, well, if you say that, dirt and you have to be pure to attain higher consciousness, well, I'm going to show up as a tantrika and roll around in the dirt and cover myself with crazy stuff and say, hey, I'm enlightened too, just to show you that the opposite works, right? So to say, oh, you can't do that, sort of some kind of Brahmanical authority dominates the Dionysian in us, and so then it has to seek another outlet, and that can explain a lot of things, right? Why do suddenly people seem to be fine and suddenly you realize, oh my God, they just died of a heroin overdose, right? Dionysus suddenly won the game there and went too far. So, Apollo, Dionysus, just noticing what is this electrolysis going on between these two forces in the body. And then, what did you learn doing that in the last minute? What I noticed is that Dionysus can show up as expansion rather than just wanton, do whatever you please. Now that could be expansion, but often Dionysus has a bad name because the party god gets into trouble. But let's say that Dionysian impulse in the body could be channeled into something that looks like expansion, because the Apollonian tendency might be understood more as contraction, because it's focusing on details. It's bringing the expanded nature of the mind down to smaller bits. And that's what the prefrontal and the left brain are really good at doing. But if you track it back a bit and move more into the right brain, give it a more geospatial feeling, connect the thoughts with feelings, synesthesia, bring in colors, sounds, light, then the left brain is not so isolated as kind of an Apollonian limitation, and then having to deal with the counter insurgency of Dionysus, right? So having to react. But if there's more of this blend, then it's like Dionysus gets his due, and we get to expand too. So that's the idea. So, yes, and thank you, Malika, for mentioning Jupiter, because the sun is conjunct Jupiter in the last few days. I think perhaps most concentrated today, along with the full moon. So we have a tremendous amount of light. You could say, what is solar conjunction with Jupiter? The light of the sun is expanding Jupiter massively. Some people say the inauguration went so smoothly because Jupiter was so dominated those other Martian tendencies. So we'll go with Jupiter. Just feel that expansion. Dionysus as Jupiter, Jupiter as Dionysus in this moment. Pleasure activation, sure, why not? Right? Monkish tendencies might be more Apollonian. Right? Pleasure activism, more Dionysian. And yet there's so much profound mystical and spiritual experience in any given pleasure that the culture might dismiss it as bad. But like we said, Dionysus has a bad rap. So pleasure, well, a lot of the great mystics suggest that as you get more spiritual, you get more sensuous. But the difference between a sort of a philandering rapist and an advanced spiritual person might not be much of a difference. Ha ha, in certain situations. Ha ha. But if they're the real deal, they're going to have control of their senses, as well as this mergence into that deliciousness of the senses, right? So that kind of balance, it's nice to be around that energy, right? It's so sensuous and loving and spiritual and profound and expansive. That would suggest that if you're in a truly expanded sensuous state, someone could just maybe caress your arm, just touch you, just hardly anything. And yet, you would have this profound expansion because your chemistry, your thoughts have become beliefs which have become biology, right? And you've emerged into this more profound vibratory field of being so present in your thoughts and feelings that they're not hijacking you. You're just using them as amplifiers. You're just using them as receptors, right? It's kind of like leaves on a tree, right? Now there's a good thought. Let's be like a tree. They can show you, if they open up a tree just right, the amazing sort of feeling wrap that makes up a tree. So let's say that a tree, any tree, is meditating. So be like a tree, so that all your pods, all your leaves are biophotonic sensory barometers, right? Downloading the light with a million green receptors. Let's just meditate like that for a minute. The tree of me, the tree of you. Be like a tree. I did not plan this meditation tonight in this way. This tree has penetrated into our situation. The tree beings are being rained on here in Santa Barbara. They must be so happy. thanking our organs and glands. Kidneys, bladder, thanks guys. Liver, gallbladder. Heart, small intestine. Invisible organs of the heart. Spleen, stomach. And lungs, large intestine. Just thanking all the glands and organs in our tree-like meditation. Okay, so some of you put some symptomology on the screen there. I'm going to zap for a few minutes here. Anything you want targeted, I'm just going to watch the screen. But for Susan, let's just say anyone with COVID symptoms, let's do a sort of a direct strike to the blood of divine love. Just cleaning up the blood. Whoa. Spiraling the happy blood. Cleanse the microorganisms, fungus, mold, bacteria, viruses, new strains of viruses, unfamiliar viruses to the body's virome intelligence. Let's clear the lungs. Good. Neck and eye strain. Maybe you're on the computer too much, but just relaxing the brain, relaxing the optic nerve, optic chiasms. Direction for professional future. Listening is always a good thing. Letting the universe guide you through just asking a question and then listening. It's like a form of kinesiology, right? You get a yes/no answer. You could be, should I move in this particular direction? You can feel that. Oh yeah, that feels good. Versus, should I go and get a job as a, oh no, that doesn't feel good. That's your body telling you. It could be your mind, but mind and body interfacing. But what I love about kinesiology is it's so smart. The body is so smart. For millions of years, it knows so many things. You can just ask, and it knows. So, asking for direction. What's coming to my mind to suggest is connect to your future self, let's say in 5 years, and just see who's standing there. How are you dressed? Who's showing up? And then a 10-year version. What will you be doing in 10 years? Just see who pops up. Let that faster than light thinking, the tachyonic corridor, just bring that information, which is somewhere in the universe, just linking you in formation. So just ask and you shall receive, kind of Google. So just whatever you need to know, ask. And it's like kind of how you ask is how you get the information back too. It's very figure 8. Okay, so again, for COVID stuff, again, cells create their own yuck, right, when they're disturbed. So we want the cells to be happy, then they don't create funky microorganisms, right? That's the terrain theory approach, right? You fix your microbiome, and then all sorts of other problems shake out because now your agriculture is regenerating. Indigestion, chills, middle of the body, feeling stuck. Okay. All right, so well, let's go with this for Connie. Let's go with disease as a density phenomenon, right? The particles that kind of got jammed together in the mid-body. And why would that be? Because that's where we process our feelings in the gut. So let's clear your gut, everyone's gut, for anxiety, tension, inability to relax, just bad posturing, not knowing how to feel, so negative response to our response. I'm sort of getting, I know you're a teacher, and so I'm not sure if you're probably not out there teaching right now, and so it's probably happening by Zoom. And Zoom is just, it's just not the same. So like, oh. So let's see. Just clearing you of technological stress. So your body can breathe again better. Body can digest reality better. Assimilate reality. This would be for everyone having an assimilation issue. Reality is hard to assimilate. That's small intestine heart in the Chinese system. That's a fire set of organs. So let's say fire. If you can't digest, you need more fire. If you have chills, something is cold, we need more fire. If things are stuck, we need more fire, right? Peristaltic action, it's fire, it drives everything. Money is fire. When there's no money, there's no fire. Might not be money, but it's fire can show up as, a lack of fire can show up as depression, not doing what you normally do in the way that you normally do it, and so the surrogate reality is not so digestible. So for everyone who's having digestion issues with reality, let's strengthen the stomach, the hydrochloric acid, the potassium chloride, the digestive juices, leptin, pepsin, amylase, ghrelin, all these goodies that come in from the pancreas and allow us to eat. Strengthening just alkalinizing the mid-body, alkalinizing the gut, more space where there's too many jammed up particles. Okay, when things are stuck, then we need more water, more hydration. So yes, just turn up the dial on the water. I spilled most of mine, but whatever we got. Water principle. We're sending more glucose to these organs and glands. Okay. So let's do this for everyone. Glucose, meaning energy and power, sort of the cosmic sugar in your body, to your brain, to your heart, your organs, glands, tissue. More glucose. Wonder Woman. Okay. More hydration. More oxygen. If we don't have enough oxygen, different things happen in the water. Water gets clogged up and starts to fat gate, starts to do different things. the water sort of creates the particles and then gets blocked by them. So we want to make sure that all the fluids in the body are moving. And so let's talk to the director of fluids. That would be the triple warmer in the Chinese system. It's understood that the triple warmer governs 26 fluids and is also governing the relationship between the head, the heart, and the gut. And so let's do a little balancing meditation for exactly that, for this particular invisible organ, the triple warmer, so that these domains, gut, head, heart, all communicate better. Usually we feel the anxiety in the gut because we don't know what, right? We suddenly have some feeling and it's like scary because the brain can't either make sense of it and the heart doesn't know how to react to it. Right, and then fear, lack of oxygen go together. That starts to project negative image, negative enemy image. And then you create more duality and that creates snake and rope stuff. And it all goes downhill from there. So, like I said before, with Dionysus and Apollo, see your mate, see your friend, see your partner as the part of you that you're not. So that essentially you're a two-headed centaur, or a two-headed creature. I guess that would be Dr. Dolittle. So anyway, what does that mean? Meaning all these parts of you might be playing it out as a separate person in you, but the confluence of the consciousness is that you are a collective. Whoever you're living with, you're kind of a collective with that person, and they're going to take on different shadow elements that are either not being expressed by one person, or whatever the other person's not doing, the second person has to sort of fill in. And so that can be a very strange mix if the head of the worm thinks that its tail is somebody else, right, coming around a corner. So it'd be like the hand. I remember when I taught third grade once in the 80s, that this is how I would explain enlightenment to these kids, and they totally got it. They totally got it. They got it that, hey, we're all these fingers, separate. But then what about that, right? What about the hand? So they got it, right? They got it. So it's, in a sense, your partner is part of your hand. So we're talking to ourselves. At least that's the idea for resolving shadow, or one suggestion, because otherwise it's going to create divisiveness, separation, disease, unconsciousness, and all these things you don't want. So let's breathe, and so it's like accepting the shadow would be like, maybe you have a bad habit. But rather than like hate yourself for it, it would be like, oh, that's the shadow expressing itself on some level, right? All those cigarettes or whatever it is, Dionysus is trying to get into the act, trying to get something that you're not giving Dionysus. So Dionysus is having to take it. So these addictions we have, these tendencies, just try this. Right? It's sort of meditative wisdom for accommodating the different polarities of consciousness, right? That you can think you're all just a goody-goody, and that everyone else is dangerous and bad, that is defined as such. And then it turns out that we're our own best friend, but we're also our worst enemy, and then that sort of unowned stuff can come back and bite us. So that's the idea. Accommodate the unknown stuff. Don't fight it. It's like the demon in the mix too has its role. All right. Interesting. Okay, so we're just going to meditate, accommodate. Good feeling. breathing. Yes, the push me, pull you creature, that would be us. And so what I just got in that meditation was that, as along the lines of what we've been talking about, that maybe some part of us that we don't like, it's okay. Right? Don't get too upset about it. There it is, right? Your funky self. Your badass self. Your Dionysian dude in there that's like, we want to party, you want to just do good stuff. So, Pumdily Goof, Flugely Gump, Push Me Pull You, Forrest Gump. Okay. So, I thought I'd sing a song. I was preparing all sorts of other songs as usual, but the one that I want to sing it's a song from Maine. It's a folk song by Gordon Bach. I don't know if you're familiar with Gordon, but his brother Derek Bach was the head of Harvard University at one point. And speaking of shadow, and like Dionysus and Apollo, the brother is like the head of this major academic institution, and Gordon is someone who'd prefer to be out in a boat playing his 12-string guitar, singing to the seals. So this mammalian brain has its roots in this feeling universe of Dionysus, right? It wants to experience the wind, wants to experience the stars, wants to experience the love. And then another part of the brain wants power and, do all sorts of other cool things. So this is called the Brandy Tree. Speaking of trees, we had a little tree meditation earlier if you're just joining us. Be like a tree. This is about an otter. Not every day you hear a song about an otter. I go down to the brandy tree, take my nose and my tail with me, all for the world and the wind to see, never come back no more. Down the meadow marsh deep and wide, tumbling the tangle by my side, all for the westing wind to run, slide in the summer rain. Sun, come follow my happy way, wind, come walk beside me, moon on the mountain, go with me, this wondrous way I know. Well, I go down to the windy sea, the little gray seal will play with me, slide on the rock and dive in the bay, sleep on the ledge at night. But the seal don't try to tell me how, fish in the windy blue. The seal's been fishing for 1,000 years, and he knows that I have too. When the frog goes down to the mud to sleep, the lamprey hides in the boulders deep, I take my nose and my tail and go 100,000 hills. Sun, come follow my happy way, moon, come walk beside me, wind on the mountain, go with me, the wondrous way I know. Someday down by the brandy tree, I'll hear the shepherd call for me, call me to leave my happy ways in the shining world I know. Sun on the hill, come go with me, days have all been free, pipes come laughing down That's the way I go. That's the way for me. Brandy Tree by Gordon Bach. A Maine folk song. All right, y'all. Namaste. See you Monday. Enjoy the full moon.